we go. Reissues. Favorite reissues that came out in the year 2022. As usual, there's always a lot of reissues. I bought a lot of reissues, and after reviewing them, listening to them intently, along with Kat, I came up with my favorites for 2022. I kind of surprised Kat's here. Generally during the afternoon, he's having a siesta like all day long, and so for him to suddenly pop in here, what a surprise. What a surprise for all of us. So here we go. Hold on, we're going to adjust that down. There we go. All right, that's better. Hey, are you going to sit down? My favorite reissue of the year just came out, and this is Loveless from My Bloody Valentine. I have been wanting, I would have loved to find an original, but that's not happening. And I've been looking to try to get one of these. And I've seen them online, and they want so much money for them, even the reissues. And there's also some, shall we say, some unofficial reissues. I didn't want to go that route. I wanted an official reissue. This just came out. Important album, a favorite album, something I absolutely love. I had here, that was from my first collection, what I saved the vinyl. It was not an original. This one of those albums that I absolutely adore. It came, I ordered it, and look at that, comes in, the vinyl slices through. That seems to happen a lot lately. Really bad. Would you quit butting me, man? So, favorite reissue, the one I've been wanting really bad, been on my want list since the flood, My Bloody Valentine, Loveless. So happy to have that. Number 2, I just showed this just recently, and it was a 2-for. It was an absolute surprise. This came because my local record store, Radio Wasteland, Jim, he put this on and played it. And it sounded just like Nick Drake. And it is Alexi Murdock. Alexi Murdock, I guess would be. And these are his 2 albums that were released in the aughts. We have here, this is the Time Without Consequence, and this one is called Towards the Sun. So I show them both because I bought them both. Would you knock? What? Cat, settle down. It's really hard to do this with animals. That's not invited. All right? Okay? But if you're a fan of, you like folk music, if you like Nick Drake, you will love these 2 albums. Just reissued. Absolutely fantastic music. Number 3. And here we have Fairy Jimmy. Fairy Jimmy. This is out of Benin. And it is some incredible. So, dude, I'm trying to, yeah. We went through a brief interruption here of the cat just being an idiot. So here we have, this is, Jimmy Fairy. And the name of the album is called Revolution. And it actually was, Benin had just been taken over by a Marxist government. There's the hype sticker. And he was a friend of the person that took over the company. I mean, the country, and the now the dictator really liked Jimmy Fairy, or Fairy Jimmy, however you say it. And so he said, "Hey, we want you to make this album." And so he made this album. He, the dictator, told all his ministers, "You need to buy this album." Nobody did. It sunk. It is so funky. It is so full of fuzz guitar. It's like Zimrock, but it is a little different. It's very pro, shall we say, for the dictator, for the government at the time. It was all written about that. There are some other songs, though, that they added on that he did after that. But he really only did 1 album. And this was it. Warehouse burned down. There's not many in existence. This is incredibly good music. If you can find it, it's one of the best African albums I've listened to. And it's Fairy Jimmy Revolution Records presents. Outstanding 2-record set. 3. Number 4. Art Pepper. This came out. This was wonderful. The rhythm section with Red Garland, Paul Chambers, and Philly Joe Jones. What was really fascinating about this album is Art Pepper was he was a heroin addict his whole life. He fought this. Not his whole life, well, pretty much all of it. At the time when he recorded this, he had not picked up his saxophone for 6 months. He had been so out with heroin. All he could think about was scoring. No one told him about the session until like the day before, and they said, you have a session tomorrow. His girlfriend, who he had gotten strung out too on heroin, says, you have a session tomorrow. And he didn't want to do it, but they made him. He gets his saxophone. The head of it's busted. The cork goes around there, split up. The reed was green and moldy. He hadn't touched that saxophone in over 6 months. They got it fixed up. He goes into the session. He didn't know who he was playing with. And there he finds Miles Davis's rhythm section. And he's just sweating bullets now. What am I going to do? They look at him and go, well, what do you want to play? I don't know. He didn't have a clue. So they just started, well, what about this? And this rhythm section starts to play something, and he picks it up and starts to play. This is considered one of his greatest albums of a guy that came in that hadn't practiced in a half a year and lays down this. Truly a man that had so much talent, but wasted so much of his life in jail. I am reading a fascinating book right now called Straight Life. It is his autobiography. Incredible. Art Pepper, number 4. Number 5, Marvin Gaye, What's Going On. I really love this album. I mean, Marvin Gaye in the 70s made, as we all know, some incredibly good stuff. This sounds wonderful. It sounds beautiful. The packaging is stellar on this. I mean, look at that. I mean, that's just really, really nice. The cat keeps headbutting me here. Does not enjoy this whatsoever. It is just wonderful. 4 sides. You have the original. The singles are done in mono. Great music. Really happy to pick this one up. Not the cheapest thing in the world, but such a classic album. How could you go wrong with that? There you go. You're going to be an idiot. You go down there. Okay, that's number 5. Number 6. How about some Zimrock? Not Zamrock. We got Zimrock. This is from Zimbabwe. And the name of the group is IQ. IQ, Please the Nation's the name of the album. This is done by Now Again Records. And they have put out some incredible reissues of music. So Zimbabwe, which at the time was called Rhodesia, but they were trying to get their independence, become Zimbabwe, which is south of Zambia. They had Zimrock, similar to Zambia, to Zamrock, but it definitely has a different sound. And so this came out. I really did not know anything about IQ. This is a 2-album set and picked it up. Beautiful music. Similar to Zamrock, just different. Vocals are really good on this. Sounded fantastic. Super happy to pick this up. There is so much great African music that they are now reintroducing us to, finding the tapes, putting it out there for us to enjoy. Great stuff. I think that was 5, 6, I don't know. Us 3 came out. I love this. Well, I bought this in CD many years ago when it came out, and now Music on Vinyl put this out there. The Hand on the Torch. Of course, it has Cantaloupe, the Flip Fantasia. Beautiful way to take jazz music, update jazz music, give that hip-hop flair. So enjoyable. Fantastic that they finally put this out on reissue so I could pick it up and really, really enjoy this thing. Great, great album. Okay, that's, we'll just say that was number 6. Number 7, John Coltrane's Blue Train. Just a classic. A lot of people have shown this. What's to talk about? This came out in the 50s. One of those great albums by Coltrane. Beautifully done. I did not buy a ton of jazz this year. But what I did buy, I really, really did like. It's just they were reissuing so much. You know, the tone poets and everything like that. Really pick and choose because there's so much other music. And I was getting so much jazz the year before. It's like, how much am I listening to it? But certain classics like here, like Blue Train, well worth getting. The complete masters, everyone's showing it because there's a good reason. It is wonderful music. So I say 7, I don't know. Okay, next up, Chris Isaak. They put this out for Record Store Day, Heart-Shaped World. Of course, this has Wicked Game. This man's voice, beautiful. That baritone, it's haunting. His guitar playing is incredibly good. I had this on CD back in the day, so I was super excited when someone showed this and said, hey, this has been reissued. Went out, bought it, picked it up, couldn't be happier. I think this is number 12. That might have been 8. We'll say this is 9. This came out on the last Record Store Day, the Heartbreakers. And it is the LAMF demo sessions. I was leery. I thought, man, what's it going to be? Sometimes these demo sessions sound just, the quality's not good. The quality on this was top notch. Crystal clear. Sounded like you were just listening to the regular album. I was so impressed with it. We have Born to Lose. Chinese Rocks is on here. It's Not Enough. Take a Chance. Then they go in again. Again, we have Born to Lose again on the second side. So much fun. It's such a great group. Johnny Thunders and the Heartbreakers. Punk, important punk group. Johnny Thunders was just trying to find his groove, but he was so strung out all the time. Went over to England, had problems. The whole tour collapses. Drugs were always a problem with him. But here he sounds phenomenal. Great stuff. Number 10. This is from South Africa, The Movers, and it's their singles from 70 to 76. This came from Analog Africa. It's probably my favorite Analog Africa album of last year. It is groovy. Groovy is a good word for it. Again, out of South Africa. It has that organ that's like Booker T and the MGs. There are a lot of instrumentals. They do some singing on here, but their instrumentals are the best. Funky, funky, funky. That's what it's about. This is not a heavy guitar-oriented one. The organ takes center stage, but there's also the rest of the band, and they lay down funk rhythms. South Africa had a different musical scene. Now, right above them was Zimbabwe. We have Zimrock. Above that, we have Zambia, Zimrock. And of course, we had Nigeria, had their own things going on. 70s in Africa is incredible. We had Benin, what was going on with revolution. Every country was different and had a different type of music. It is fantastic. Just blows your mind. And great that they reissued this. Number 11, maybe I'm wrong, it could be 50. I have no idea. Finally, please put out this Joshua Judge's Ruth by Lyle Lovett. One of my favorite Lyle Lovett albums. Still favorite to this day. I can sit down and I just can totally get into it. He has church on here. I've been to Memphis. This man, he can write a tune, but it's so, he has a fun way about it. His lyrics can be sarcastic. There can be something else he's trying to say with it. It's so good. I just never tire of Lyle Lovett. And the release of this is wonderful. I really want them to release Lyle Lovett and his large band. I'll be happy. And the final one. You go, well, why wasn't that the first? Well, it's just how much you listen to it. Jimi Hendrix, they released this on the UHQR. There's a lot of UHQRs being released. I really have stopped buying them. The prices are just, they're costing more than what they're worth to me to listen to. Sure, there's the quality. You could say, the value may go up, but am I getting that enjoyment when I sit down and I listen to it? I'm spending as much money for this as if I found an original, a good sounding original, or even a great sounding reissue. And I'm having a hard time justifying the pricing of a lot of these. Now, I was happy to get this. It took me many years to get into Jimi Hendrix. When I was younger, I just thought he was just this hippie freak kind of guy, and I didn't like that type of music. That changed. Obviously, we change as we get older and our musical tastes. This is a wonderful album. Super happy to have it. I've just really backed off on all these big kind of purchases. The money, again, it eats up your budget. And suddenly we can't afford these other records. I can't get those because I get something like this. So still happy to have it, but I'm just not a big fan of these high price albums anymore. And that's it. That's my reissues. Hey, I almost dropped that right on Cat. Wouldn't he have been surprised? So I appreciate you watching this. Great year for reissues. I'm looking forward to seeing what's coming out, especially dealing with Africa. It's just so much excitement with the African music. Thank you for dropping by. We're going to have a couple more of these. I think the next one will be my most valuable purchase, expensive ones from 2022. That's pretty cool. Really good stuff. Thanks, everyone. Bye.